From our studios on Slaughterhouse Road in Belize City, this is Love Television's Evening News. We will get you caught up with the stories making the news this Friday, May 22. Let's start you off with a look at the headlines. Man hospitalized following Thursday night shooting. 2 men charged for murder of San Pedro taxi driver. Minister of Education speaks on the importance of early childhood development, and the family of Denfield Bowen gets closure after body found. A Belize City man remains hospitalized following a shooting incident on Thursday night. Reporter Hippolyta Novello has the story.
32-year-old Luis Dominguez of a St. Thomas Street address in Belize City was riding his bicycle on JR Street in the Jane Usher Boulevard area when a lone gunman suddenly appeared from a yard, pulled out a firearm and began blasting several shots at Dominguez's direction. He was hit about 2 times. He fell off from the bicycle while the shooter fled the scene. Bleeding profusely, Dominguez sought assistance.
Well, when he come in, he run straight back in the yard and I get shot. And when he come run by the step by me, and when he come by the step by me, I ask her, what part of the shot? And he tell me, they just shut up me. And I tell I come out, I call the police, and the police they take like about 15 minutes before they reach us, so a good while. And meanwhile, they saw the boy don't lose a lot of blood already because they bleed for 3. He nose and for 3 mouth, right? And I asked her, what part to get shot? And he say, he's supposed to get shot by neck. I went and look by neck. I say, a bullet hole by neck, right? And then I run upstairs and get my shirt. And when I get the shirt and I wrap it around my neck like fair. But I low pressure on it so you don't bleed a lot, that kind of way this on. When I do that, we come out there by the gate because we wait for the police to call. And he start get weak and thing, that kind of way this so. And when we got chair, we don't get chair, make it sit down. Then leave it after so the police to call. Yeah, we need light and all that because the part he get shot, no light none by the corner they took, he get shot way by the street. Nothing no like the front there part we don't need at all.
I need a bush there for cut down.
Then after a bush and think who could sneak up around here, so for true.
The shooter is described as a Hispanic man, and neighbors say they heard about 2 shots. The shooting happened a few minutes before 9 o'clock last night. Dominguez had called his friends whom he had been socializing with in the Kings Park area before riding off.
He left fire like after 7 and minutes to 9 we get a call for him, and he tell we he just get shot. He get shot up and he just cut off, and we try call him back, and all we hear a siren, and we got in the hospital and thing, and it just tell we get shot in the face. The bullet come from back by neck side, and it go through nose, and it get one nice shoulder. And none of that, because he say I'm going back a lake, but we never know he got back a Genosha.
Did he tell you who shot him, or did he see who shot him?
No, he just say he get shot, and the phone just come off.
And he normally hang around here how often and so?
Every day he come. Every day, morning, afternoon he come, he eat, he go to work and come back evening. And I reach he hang.
And at the hospital, did he share who would want to hurt him?
No, because they never want to make we go in. They never want to make we go in. If we can't take what operation, because the bullet in his shoulder never come out. Only the one behind the neck may come out.
Prior that he left this year, was he mentioning any problems with a beef he had with anybody like that? Did he share anything as a friend? Did he share anything at all?
No, never.
Police have detained 1 person pending charges. Reporting for Love News, Hippolyta Novello.
The body of Denfield Bowen was found yesterday evening. Bowen had been reported missing for a number of weeks. Once again, we join Hippolyta Novello for that story.
The body of 27-year-old Denfield Bowen Jr., or LL as he was known, was found yesterday evening along an old feeder road on Mile 8 in Hatterville Village. His body was in a state of advanced decomposition, and an on-site post-mortem examination was unable to determine the cause of death. Bowen had been missing for about 3 weeks. His family, along with his common-law wife Claudine Dawson, had been searching for him since his disappearance.
We go everywhere and can't find this red pick up this body. So we just may give up while we learn as the police and alone co harass we pa Blue Street for help we and nobody assist we.
No, did you guys look behind this area before, or is this?
No, we never really look behind this area. We only make like the burying ground near up here, so we did never look behind this area yet.
Reports are that his body was found inside the back of his own red pickup truck that he had drove off in on April 30. Dawson believes that after receiving a phone call, her husband was lured to his death.
Me and him in the shop the Thursday, about 5:05, he make a call and he said, be your debo at the corner. And he stand up at the shop door and he watch me. And when he gone at the pickup, he tell the baby then come out. And he sit down and pick up and he watch me and he shake his head. From he gone, he take off and I watch my watch. That me 5:20. So I gone upstairs, but I'm going for 7. I say, how you no come yet? That no him. I gotta take a bath. And I ask a friend where the next phone when he me got. So I think he say he are going right. So I think he call her. After 7 I get mad and I call her 5 per phone. I cause the phone no answer, no one voicemail. After 10 we get one phone call. Say that they may gonna fire the brown house, which in a day he gone. Right the father house. I no come back. So when we get a car, we gone to our police station, check nobody there. We call hospital, they say they might have in there the intensive care. When we gone there the Friday, nobody as such as that name, only father. When we gone to father, he said my husband no reach it, but we know he reached that for he yard.
Bowen had been described as Georgetown gang affiliate, and it was rumored that his murder may have been a result of an internal feud that had resulted from the murder of Mark Medina on April 26. Whatever the case may be, Dawson says she and her family can now sleep peacefully.
There was closure because every day me and the baby didn't want to know how you know go. But we don't know what may happen already, but we may really want to come alive, but you have to accept that in a life that he dead. So really now we find the body so the baby could really say I know where they pan the come again.
Police have no suspects. Bowen leaves behind 4 children. His wife is currently expecting his 5th. Reporting for Love News, Hipólito Novello.
40-year-old Guatemalan national Rafael Ramirez and 25-year-old Belizean Arvington Neal are tonight spending their first night in jail after being charged with murder. San Pedro police charged both men for the murder of taxi operator 42-year-old Donicio Trujillo. The taxi man was found murdered on Sunday, May 3, with stab wounds to the neck and to the back. His body was found in the marina area off the garbage transfer station road on the island. His taxi cab was found on the scene. Police believe that the motive for his murder may have been robbery. With the body count reaching almost 60 since the start of 2015, there have been concerns expressed by various communities and residents. The spike in violence has even prompted the U.S. Embassy to issue an advisory to American citizens in country and those with plans to visit. When it comes to Belize City, majority, if not all of those crimes are happening on the south side of the old capital. And with that in mind, Love News asked the area representatives for Port Loyola and Colette to weigh in on the crime situation. According to Faber, he is doing what he can to bring residents together in his division, including an upcoming family day.
We try our best as a constituency. I think indeed more can be done in terms of us collaborating together, and that's why I was so happy to be a part of this event today, or this it's not an event, it's a new way of doing things, collaborating together. And we sit in the cabinet room on a weekly basis and we try to make our input, but I think the collaboration needs to go much further, especially as it relates to the crime situation here in Belize City. But in my own constituency, we try to do things that will keep our young people off the streets. You will know that a lot of the Ministry of Education's programs are based in the Colette constituency because or our goals coincide. We have a lot. We are in the middle of the south side of Belize City. We can attract the kind of resources from our ministry that can help the entire south side Belize City in terms of dealing with some of these problems. We have for instance, the Magazine Road skills training program. We have the Gwen Liz Evening School Division there, and the Gateway Youth Facility. All of them are there in our constituency, but they're engaged in the larger fight to fix the issues that are facing us in the society. So we do our part. Next week, in June the 7th, in fact, we will, following week, we'll have a family day in our constituency. You'll remember that the Prime Minister allotted some monies to each constituency for Mother's Day. And we have decided to use our funds not for mothers solely, but for the family and developing the family structure. We put the day in the middle of Father's Day and Mother's Day, and we celebrate the entire family. So we're hoping that interventions like this will help to strengthen the family structure, which I'm sure everybody will agree is a contribution to fixing the issues that lead some people to crime.
Meanwhile, Port Loyola Representative Anthony Boots Martinez told Love News that he believes that the police needs to improve in the area of intelligence gathering.
I have been, wouldn't say putting pressure, I have been doing my part as your representative and also looking on ways and making suggestions to the Minister of Police, to the CEO and the other police officer, high command of the police. And I think that in some ways we have been successful in preventing probably what will be more criminal activity in various areas on the south side. I think that, in my humble opinion, the police just need to gather a little more intelligence, and they can prevent some of the major crime from happening. I think they're doing their best, but I think that a little more focus needs to be put on intelligence.
The recent shootings that occurred in Belize City were on the south side, in the areas of Jane Usher Boulevard, Mahogany Street, Guild Street, and Reggae Street. Earlier this week, we told you of the decision by the People's United Party to not take part in the signing of the amended special agreement, slated to take place on Monday, May 24 in Guatemala. There have been the views expressed for and against the position that the opposition party has taken. And today, we asked cabinet ministers to tell us what they think.
I think it's sad, and I think what sums it up is that they're playing politics. I mean, I don't think they're making any secret about that. They're saying that they believe in going to the ICJ in one breath, and then in the next breath they're saying, well, they don't have confidence in the foreign minister. Well, the foreign minister is one man, and I think, for the record, that their position with the foreign minister is totally unfounded and, of course, political. But it is bigger than that. They are trying to, in my view, make it seem as if they don't want us to succeed in resolving this claim, because, of course, that puts yet another feather in the cap of Prime Minister Dean Barrow, and so they want to badmine the process, so to speak. And I think the comments made by their mouthpiece, Godfrey Smith, at a recent press conference puts that out there clearly, that they're not really intending to support the resolution of this matter, and that they're just trying to badmine the process. Another thing is that, of course, they have been in the process a long time. In fact, if I remember correctly, it was under their administration that this was we first engaged in this under the Prime Minister Musa. So I really am disappointed in their position. But hey, this is what you can expect from a very reckless opposition, and people can expect even worse if they should ever become the government.
Well, I don't know what is their thinking. It was, in my view, it was a process that they started, and I think started in good faith. I don't know what is their problem. I think honestly, kind of little petty politics and have to do nothing great with the processes of which started in previous administrations. So I think it's just raw petty politics, and I think that the decision of government, in my view, to not intertwine one with the other and even agreeing on separate dates to the referendum is very important.
PUP's decision was expressed in a press release issued that read in part, quote, "The People's United Party will not participate nor be a party to any amendment of the special agreement made between Belize and Guatemala. While the PUP has always been an active participant in all discussions, negotiations, and meetings as part of a national bipartisan approach to the Belize-Guatemala referendum, the party has always done so on the condition that Belizeans must at all times be kept fully informed and consulted on all critical matters," end of quote. That part of the release expressed the party's upset at not being kept abreast of the discussions or decisions made surrounding the matter of the amendments to the special agreement, which the Foreign Minister Wilfred Ellington had admitted to. The second upset for the PUP is, quote, "Furthermore, no explanation has been provided to the Belizean people for agreeing to such a request, save and except that the Foreign Minister, Honorable Seti Ellington, has said that the Guatemalans, quote, thought that it would be convenient, largely because of cost considerations," end of quote, and because all the political parties in Guatemala were in agreement that the matter should be taken to referendum at that time, end of quote. It is to be noted that up to news time, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has not informed the media or the opposition as to what the amendments are that will be signed onto come Monday. A workshop geared at understanding, addressing, and improving various aspects when it comes to early childhood development, ECD, took place today at the Radisson Fort George Hotel in Belize City. The all-day event, hosted by UNICEF, had the participation of several ministries, namely the Ministry of Human Development, Social Transformation, and Poverty Alleviation, as well as the Ministry of Health and that of Education. According to Education Minister Patrick Faber, there is a misconception that early childhood development begins at preschool, while that is not the case. He added that there is a need for parents to do more to contribute to an improved early childhood development.
I think there is a lot of room for public education here in Belize as it relates to ECD indeed. We still have a good many parents, I believe, in our country who don't see a value in early childhood education. And for most Belizeans, that means preschool at 3 to maybe infant 1 or infant 2. But as the studies are showing, early childhood development, and notice we didn't say early childhood education, it needs to start from birth. The studies will all show you, the experts will all tell you as they're here telling us today, that really we need to start nurturing our children from birth, giving them the proper health and nutritional care, but also stimulating their all around from in the home, but also in the early years of the education at preschool, even daycare. So yes, a lot of sensitization needs to happen. Yes, more parents and more teachers need to get on board. And yes, by extension, all in our society need to be more involved and need to be more sold on the idea of us engaging in early childhood development from birth.
During this morning's event, there was a keynote presentation done by the Professor of Child Health, Child Development and Behavior from the University of the West Indies, Dr. Maureen Sams Vaughan. Part of her PowerPoint presentation looked at the impacts of a low to regular quality ECD versus high quality. The impacts included issues revolving financial, health, and social aspects, among others.
We've learned that the early years of life are important because the interactions and the experiences that a young child has with his or her environment determines the structure of the brain. Early experiences determine whether a child has a strong or fragile foundation to go into adulthood with. There was this study that was done in Sweden where they looked at early childhood and adult health. And they found that the number of adverse early childhood circumstances that people experienced was related to the risk of having health problems increased with the number of adverse conditions that children had in early childhood. You see the risk for circulatory problems, cardiovascular disease. You see the risk for mental health problems moving from 2 to 10 times in terms of the number of early childhood problems. Let's look at education, and this is a famous high school project, the Perry Preschool Project. While this is probably the most famous study in early childhood and really started the focus on early childhood, I want you all to realize that it didn't start off as a research project. It started off with a principal who wanted to make sure that the children were doing better higher up, and he kept working lower and lower down until he got to the preschool period. And his work was later able to be followed because he wanted the kids to be doing better. And what this shows is that the children who were exposed to high quality preschool had lower rates of special education use. You see, the ones who were in the program had half the rate of special education, and the ones who had a high preschool education at age 14, they were achieving so much higher, and they also were more likely to graduate from high school on time. When they got to be age 27 was when we see the social impacts. They had fewer felonies, misdemeanors, and interactions with the juvenile justice system, and once they were in the early childhood program. So here we see the impact of early childhood on crime and on the justice system, that high quality early childhood development leads to reduced crime and violence. Then we look at the economic effects. The children who were in the program were earning considerably more than the children who were not in the program. They were more likely to earn their own home, and they were less likely to be on welfare support by the government. So here we see that the Minister of Finance needs to be very engaged with early childhood, because this means that the economics of the country, of any country that pays attention to early childhood development, is going to be much better. So we have health, education, social services, and finance.
According to Dr. Sams Vaughan, the ideal classroom situation for a high-quality level of early childhood development would be 2 teachers to a classroom of 20 pre-kinder and kinder, with that classroom number increasing to 30 in higher classes. Love News asked Minister Faber if he thinks Belize could or would ever achieve that ideal.
I think we can. Again, though, we have to sensitize, we have to educate. Dr. Sams Vaughan also spoke about this morning the costs, in fact, of correcting adult behavior as opposed to investing in our children. And indeed, nobody can argue that we spend a lot right now on corrective behavior. If you look at what we're spending for a prisoner, I think it's about $15 a day. And all these studies will show you that proper investment in our children at the early stages will guarantee less money being spent on correcting that behavior, but that's one way of looking at it. But we can also look at the costs that come later on when these students are not productive, not contributing to the economy. Or you can also look at the cost of them being unhealthy if we don't invest in the health aspect of early childhood development. So, it's a matter of getting the people in the Belizean society, the leadership, of course, of our government and everybody else who plays a key important role to understand as well that it might well be in our interest to be investing in early childhood development, putting those 2 teachers to 20 students, and investing a lot in health and education at this very early stage, as opposed to having to pay the more expensive price later on. But I want to caution as well, though, that, you know, while that is ideal, that we don't run away, you know, with the idea that, our expert came to say, the ideal class size is 20 students to 2 preschool teachers, you know. We have this tendency to run away with just what we want to run away with. We're talking about all-around quality education, especially at this early stage. And that comes with a lot of hard work. A lot of what she said this morning is going to be difficult to do and will, of course, rely on the work that teachers do. And so there can be no escaping.
The Early Childhood Development Forum continued up to 4 p.m. with presentations from the chief executive officers and the ministers of human development as well as education. It also included presentations from an international consultant, Garen Lumpkin, on strategic planning as well as findings and policies. The government of Belize, through the Ministry of Education, had put forth a proposal to the Caribbean Development Bank for the improvements of existing schools and the establishment of schools in areas where deemed necessary. Education Minister Patrick Farber will tell us more about that $70 million budget later on in our newscast. Love News has confirmed that Candelaria Saldivar Mortar has been placed on administrative leave. Saldivar is the Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Immigration, Labor, Local Government and Rural Development. A source told Love News that the decision came after Cabinet met on Tuesday. We were made to understand that a head of department within the ministry made an official complaint against Saldivar Mortar, who is the sister to the Minister of National Security, John Saldivar. We were told that the head of department complained about Saldivar Mortar's management style. Edmund Zuniga is acting CEO. We weren't able to get in contact with Minister Godwin House for further details. There was an armed robbery this afternoon at M&M's Engineering on the Philip Goldson Highway. 2 men armed with a handgun barged inside the compound and held the employees up at gunpoint. The culprits demanded cash and all valuable items. However, as the duo was fleeing the scene, police nabbed one of the gunmen. We were at the scene and we spoke to Officer Commanding Precinct 1, Superintendent Lyndon Flowers.
Okay, early information is that two male persons are mid 20s building at M&M Engineering with a firearm and demanded that the persons they work as a handover. Cell phones were stolen. Did they comply at the moment? Yes, from my understanding is that they did receive the cell phones and the monies and the exact details of compliance. The monies were taken at what monies were taken at. What caliber of firearm was used? At the moment, I do not have the caliber of firearm.
Fortunately, no one was hurt in the incident. Gay rights activist and head of the United Belize Advocacy Movement, UNIBOM, Caleb Orozco, was featured in a New York Times article. The article was published online today on NewYorkTimes.com. It is entitled, "The Lonely Fight Against Belize's Anti-Gay Laws," and begs the question, can one challenge to a statute criminalizing sodomy create a domino effect in the Caribbean? In the article, Orozco describes what a day is like for a gay man living in Belize, but more specifically, what a day is like for him, the gay man who is challenging Section 53 of the laws of Belize. Here is how that interview went.
Second-hand source. I speak for over 3 decades of trying to walk these streets as a human being in Belize City and being reminded every other month of what my sexual attraction is and how disgusted people are about me and who I'm attracted to. Never mind, it's never none of their business who I'm attracted to. As long as I'm a productive citizen, as long as I'm contributing to my community or my society, what does it matter who am I attracted to? But ultimately, this is a challenge or a process of in getting people to be inspired about all the nuances about what it means to be human being with a sexual identity.
Many individuals have read your article, and one of the criticisms that I have listened to is that in the article it seems that you're portraying Belize as a very homophobic country. Would you agree? Or?
The most destructive thing in our society is not the homophobes, but the majority who shamelessly remain silent and allow discrimination to occur right in their sight and remain silent about it. The most destructive thing is to watch a state say that you must negotiate with your opponents who have expressed clear homophobia and disgust of you about the rights which are enshrined in our Constitution. The most destructive thing is to have families, blood, mistreat their own children because of what somebody else tells them they're supposed to do. For me, it's not the homophobes who are the problem. It's the majority who shamelessly remain silent and allow these indignities to happen to people. That is the destructive thing that is affecting our society right now.
The article was written by Julia Scott. Some weeks ago, we told you of reports we had gotten that the Ministry of Health had ceased from issuing the Risperidone drug usually prescribed for mentally ill patients, particularly those suffering from schizophrenia. The Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Peter Allen, told Love News that there indeed had been a short on supplies, but that there was no decision to stop issuing the drug.
Risperidone, as you know, is an important drug used in our mental health programs. Now, there were previous categories of drugs that used to be used in the past, but some of them have some side effects, and so we've been fortunate in being able to increase our budget for medical supplies, and that has allowed us to procure some of the more modern drugs which are perhaps more effective and have less side effects, and Risperidone is one of those. We were having a problem with the supply round about the end of March and the beginning of April, but that has been resolved, and Risperidone is available and will continue to be available at our clinics. We procure them under tender, so there's an open tender where different agencies bid. Some of these drugs are controlled drugs, so they are not freely available at every pharmacy or supplier. You would need to have the proper permits and licenses. That was actually one of the challenges for us, even when we were having problems with the supply, because we couldn't simply go over to, for example, Mexico, buy some and bring it over, because they are controlled, and controlled not just by national legislation.
The Risperidone drug is an antipsychotic drug mainly used to treat schizophrenia, including adolescent schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, the mixed and manic states of bipolar disorder, and irritability in people with autism. It is on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines, which is a list of the most important medications needed in a basic health system. A display highlighting Belize Public Service Information Day was held today. We'll have more on that for you. That was held in the Toledo district. We'll have more on that for you later on in our news. The Horizon Academy held its first Kids at Work exposition today, and that is where students from pre-kinder all through to Standard 6 had an opportunity to showcase their final results of a 6-week entrepreneurship program. Students were able to come up with their own small business and product to display and sell to visitors. Principal Diane Mejia says this expo is an opportunity for building skills and marketability.
We are encouraging entrepreneurship and innovation. We're building math skills, we're building writing skills, public speaking skills, life skills in so many ways. We feel that the lessons that the students have learned over the past few weeks have been invaluable, so much more than academic, because of the experience of coming up with this concept, creating the concept, testing, marketing, and then finally today selling to the general public.
Building academic skills is not the only purpose of the expo, as proceeds will be put to good use.
The proceeds, any profit that they make, will be shared between the school and the class itself. The school would like to be able to use the proceeds towards something for the individual classes to improve the classrooms, and the classes get to do whatever they choose. So they can have a party or go on a field trip. Some of them want to go to the zoo, they want ice cream and a pool party, different things like that.
Two very enthusiastic students gave their presentation on their Standard 2 business idea.
Our name is Fabulous Felters. We do things out of felt, and we sell bows, hair things for your hair, and other things. I'm gonna pass it to Giancarlo. So we have items out of felt. And we are the Fabulous Felters, as she said. We make art out of felt. We have bookmarks, pencil toppers. We have lots of balls left. As you can see, we would have way more if you came from the beginning, but we kind of sold a lot. And we have a tips jar over there if you want to give any. We have coasters and we have frames too. You can order if you want. Order like a frame. Like somebody ordered something exactly like this.
The Kids at Work Business Exposition is expected to become an annual event. $500,000 of Petro-Carib monies are being allotted to the Ministry of Sports to assist in funding summer programs geared at engaging young students over the holidays. Minister Patrick Faber told us how the monies will be distributed and who can access the funds.
The government of Belize has set aside $500,000, $500,000, and it has been allotted, it's being allotted through the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports, particularly the National Sports Council. What will happen is we will form a body, a little committee that will vet applications, and so we invite people to seek those applications from the various offices of the Sports Council across the districts, and then they can apply. Now, we're looking for entities that have traditionally, and we all know these people, Renee. They come every year, they put off these events every year. Some of them take personal resources, some of them are out there all over asking the business community to help. And so those are the people we're looking for, people who have some history in offering these sporting programs. So we're not saying to everybody to jump up and decide to, that's what is probably going to happen, but we're making it clear that we want to work with those who have a history, who have found it difficult over time to find the resources that are necessary to put off proper sporting programs. And those are the people who we are calling to the table. There are some requirements in that regard. We need a proper budget. We need for them to tell us, of course, of a plan to keep the children safe while they are conducting the exercises. But of course, they can utilize the funds that are being granted to help with all of this, because we want to make sure that the programs that are put off are not just programs for program's sake, but rather that they are quality sporting programs that can help in our children's development and can give Belize a good face.
While this particular budget is set aside for only sporting activities, Faber says that there are other programs that other coordinators can capitalize on for other summer programs, including education and remedial classes.
It is going to be termed the Petro-Carib Summer of Sports. So it is only for sporting activities. But, yesterday I had a management meeting with my senior management folks in the ministry, and I also learned of many other initiatives that comes from the ministry's regular budget that the Department of Youth Services is engaging in. So I encourage you maybe to check with Mrs. Mackenzie from the Department of Youth Services to learn of the other programs that are being offered and that can be supported outside of the Petro-Carib Summer of Sports for our young people this summer.
For further information on the Petro-Carib Summer of Sports, you can contact the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports. The National Garifuna Council of Belize is holding its 31st annual convention beginning today in San Pedro and Burgers Key. Major highlights of this year's convention will include workshops on various selected topics. The annual convention is the highest authority and decision-making body of the National Garifuna Council. It is where the National Board of Directors presents its yearly report on activities and achievements of the Council, as well as consideration and adoption of resolutions moved by the membership. In addition, the audited financial statement of the Council will be presented. It is expected that members from all the branches of the National Garifuna Council will be represented at this annual convention. The convention runs until Sunday, May 24. Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Peter Allen, says that members of administration have gotten letters requesting an explanation into the severe rat infestation that was uncovered last month at the Western Regional Hospital.
Of course, a very regrettable situation from an administrative perspective with the human resources at the hospital. We've actually issued what we call show cause letters to really ask the administration how this could have happened and to give us reasons why the Ministry of the Public Service and the Public Service Commission shouldn't engage in disciplinary action against them. So that's the beginning of that process. But in terms of the immediate effects, was that we asked for estimates for urgent repairs. The estimates came in at about $25,000. We assisted through our National Engineering and Maintenance Centre, and we, through the good officers of the Ministry of Finance, made the $25,000 available for those repairs. That should have been implemented already. If it hasn't started already, then it will be ongoing.
The rat infestation was uncovered on Friday, April 24 in the cabinets and lockers, mostly in the kitchen area at the Western Regional Hospital. An anti-drug joint operation was conducted yesterday in the Precinct 1 jurisdiction. Officers conducted searches in the East Canal area where they found a Ziploc bag with 90 grams of weed in a yard. It was labeled as found property. Another black plastic bag was also found in the area, and this one contained 16 live 5.56 millimeter rounds of ammunition with the brands LC-14, 1 mg, and 25 live 5.56 rounds of ammunition of Winchester brand, a total of 41 live rounds. Police also recovered 93 live .45 rounds of ammunition with 5-star brand, 52 live 38 rounds of SPL 5-star brand ammunition. No one was in the area at the time, and so our thought conditioner for today comes from Carnegie. He says, quote, "It isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you are doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about it." End of quote. To have your thought conditioners featured in this segment of our news, all you have to do is send us an email. Our email address is news@lovetv.com.bz. This has been the evening news on Love Television. Thanks for joining us. I am Renee Trujillo. Do have a safe and a fabulous holiday weekend.